Hey, but that baseball jersey though.
Hey, what's going on everybody of YouTube? It is Ken and You Daily, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a baseball jersey from scratch. As you see, the one I'm wearing is the one I made from scratch. It's made with this like Renaissance looking fabric on the front, and then the back got this high quality cotton. Now this tutorial is actually really hard. I do not recommend this for new sewers. I recommend for the more advanced sewers. But if you do want to attempt this, be sure to take your time throughout the tutorial. Do not skip any parts, because then you're going to get lost and you're going to stop doing it and all that stuff. So here's the jersey that I made for the tutorial. It's pretty dope. I really like the Renaissance fabric that I picked out. And then the black stripes and the black buttons really contrast it. I didn't want to go with the all over prints, all around. So I made the whole back like this black color with this like high quality cotton. I think it really just makes the baseball jersey stand out. But without further ado, let's get straight into the tutorial.
Here's an overview of everything you're going to need. Starting with the tools, you're just going to need your basic ruler. You're going to need some cutting tools. You're going to need a pen. And the last thing you're going to need is some pins. For the materials, you're going to need some buttons, hem tape, a t-shirt, 2 yards of lining fabric, and 2 yards of the fabric of your choice. And the last thing you're going to need is some construction paper to make a template. And that's everything you're going to need. First thing we're going to do is make a template. Go grab your construction paper and the t-shirt you want to use. Take the t-shirt, fold it in half, and then you want to fold the sleeve inwards to make the t-shirt look sleeveless. Now you want to make a 1-inch outline around the t-shirt. Afterwards, you want to modify the inner part of the template to look more like a baseball jersey. After you figure out what you want it to look like, go ahead and cut out the template. When you're done with everything, it should look something like this. Next, you want to grab the fabric you want to use for the front part of the jersey and double up on the fabric. Place your template over the fabric and cut the fabric out using the template. You should end up with 2 identical pieces. Next, you want to grab the fabric you want to use for the back part of the jersey. Again, you want to double up on the fabric. Place the template on the fold like so. Do not cut the inner part of the template, but once you're done with all of the cutting, make sure all the pieces are on point. Next, we're going to cut out the fabric for the sleeves. Grab the fabric you want to use and double up on it, and then align the top part of the sleeve to the fold of the fabric. Fold the sleeve up and cut the imaginary outline of the sleeve. You can take the first sleeve to cut out the second sleeve. Afterwards, you should end up with 2 identical sleeves. If you found this confusing, please check out my other method to cutting sleeves in this video before continuing. Next, we're going to overlap the front pieces together. Take the right side, fold the inner part in about 1 inch, give it a crease, align it with the right piece, then undo the crease and pin the 2 pieces together. Next, we're going to sew the front piece to the back piece. Get the back piece, have the right side of the fabric facing up. Go grab the top piece and have the fabric facing down. Next, you want to just pin the top part of the jersey to connect the pieces. It should look like this when you're done with all the pinning. Take it to your sewing machine, sew along the pinned area, and start and end with a back stitch. Next, we're going to attach the sleeves onto the jersey. First thing you want to do is grab the sleeve that you cut earlier and flip the top part of the jersey upwards. In the area that connects the front piece of the jersey to the back, you want to place the sleeve right on top of there. Afterwards, you want to pin the fabric as closely as you can to the edge and make sure the sleeve fabric is face down. It should look something like this when you're done with all the pinning. Take it to the sewing machine, sew along the pin area, and start and end with a back stitch. If you found this method of attaching sleeves difficult or confusing, you can also check out my easier method on this video. Next, we're going to close up all the open sides. Go grab some pins, match up both ends of the jersey, and it should look like this when you're all done. Next, you want to take it to your sewing machine, slowly work your way to each end, start and end with the back stitch as always. Once you're done with all that, you can now remove the pins that kept the 2 front pieces together. Next, we're going to cut a long bias strip, so go grab your 2 yards of lining. You want to fold the whole thing in half. After you fold the whole thing in half, you want to do it 1 more time. In the end, you should end up with something that looks a bit like this and 6 layers stacked up. Here are my 6 layers, 1, 2, and 3 times 2, so that's 6. Now you want to grab your ruler, measure 2 inches from the top, cut a straight line across. If you did everything correctly, you should end up with a really long bias strip. Next, we're going to add the bias strip onto the front part of the jersey. The reason why we're doing this is to hide the raw edges and to add another layer to reinforce the area that we're going to add buttons. Take some pins and line up the bias strip as closely as possible to the raw edges. Use the diagram in the top left of the screen as a reference. Once you're done with all the pinning, it should look like this all the way around the jersey. Take it to your sewing machine and carefully straight stitch the strip onto the jersey. Start and end with a back stitch. Afterwards, double check if the bias strip is attached. Then you want to take the bias strip and fold it onto the inside of the jersey. Make sure to carefully stretch the fabric so it doesn't bunch up. If it does decide to bunch up, redo the pinning. Here's what it should look like when you're done with all the pinning and the bias strip is completely on the inside of the jersey. Take it to your sewing machine and take your time on this part because you can accidentally sew together fabric and mess up your entire swag, and you don't want to mess up your swag, man. Come on, man. Next, you want to sew the other end of the bias strip, so you want to repeat the same process and pin along the bias strip. Remember to carefully even out the fabric to prevent any bunching up. It should look something like this when you're done. Again, take it to your sewing machine and sew along the pinned area of the bias strip. Start and end with a back stitch as always. Next, you want to get your hem tape and you want to pin it along the stitch that we made when we stitched down the other end of the bias strip. Be careful when you're pinning the hem tape over the stitch because you can accidentally bunch up the fabric. This hem tape will give the baseball jersey a professional ball player look, and you're about to ball like you playing basketball, but you ain't a basketball player, you're a ball player. But anyways, this is what it should look like when you're done with all the pinning. Next, you want to stitch the hem tape onto the jersey. Start with one side of the hem tape and then continue to the other side of the hem tape. Next, I'm going to do a brief explanation on buttons. To mark the place where you want to put the button, place the button in an area, then make a marking that's 2/3 the size of the button. To attach the button by hand sewing, grab some thread and a hand sewing needle. Put the thread through the needle, make two ends match up, and double knot the ends. To figure out where to place the button, place the fabric with the buttonhole on top of the fabric. You want to place the button on top of the buttonhole, then carefully remove the top fabric. To attach the button to the fabric, take the needle that we threaded earlier, start going in and out of the buttonholes until it's secured. Next, we're going to make markings in where we're going to be putting the buttonhole. Measure 1 inch from the top, then from there, you measure 5 inches for every buttonhole that's under the first one. Work your way all the way down until you reach the end. I will not be going over the buttonhole process since every machine has a different way to applying buttons and buttonholes, so it would be useless for me to go over it. After you apply the buttons and the buttonholes, the last thing to do is hem all the raw edges. Turn your jersey inside out and go to your sleeves. Cuff the sleeve 1 inch and you want to do this twice. Repeat this for the other sleeve. Afterwards, hem the bottom of the jersey. All you need to do is fold the jersey upward 1 inch and then pin all the way around. It should look like this when you're done with all the hemming. Finally, the last thing you need to do is just straight stitch all the hems that we made earlier. Take your time on this because this is the last process, so don't just rush to the end. And once you're done with all this, you're done with your new baseball t-shirt jersey. But anyways, guys, that's the tutorial. I hope you guys found it somewhat helpful. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below. Let me also know what you think about the jersey itself. Would you wear? Would you not wear? What would you do with it? But anyways, guys, this is Ken and You Daily, and remember to keep it daily. Peace!